Blog Talk Radio.
Greetings, people of the world. We are Anonymous, and this is the ANT Radio Network. The views and opinions expressed in our programming do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Anonymous or any sector. If it does and you do not like it, we do not care.
Com.
Many of us were told in private conversations that if we voted against this bill on Monday, that the sky would fall, the market would drop 2,000 or 3,000 points the first day, another couple thousand the second day, and a few members were even told that there would be martial law in America if we voted no.
We've got to stabilize the population. When I was born, there
so what's wrong with the population? I mean,
with too many people. That's why we have global warming. We have global warming because too many people are using too much stuff. But if there were less people, they'd be using less stuff.
In 1913, the money power of the country was taken away from the people by constitutional privilege. It belongs with the Congress, but it was given up in the Federal Reserve Act. The Federal Reserve is no more federal than Federal Express.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls alike around the world. Welcome to another edition of Against the Grain as the World Turns. This is the 2016 edition. I am your host, Rush Perez of the Real World Order, and it is a beautiful, crappy, no, I'm just kidding. It actually is kind of crappy where I'm at, May 10th, 2016. Wow, it's been a while since we have all been together the last time. I thank you guys for patience and whatnot. Whole bunch of different reasons of why, nothing bad, mostly investigating different things. And honestly, not to drown you guys out with the same folklore bullshit that you hear every single day. Because honestly, when you look at the headlines and then you go deeper and read into the articles, you really start to see that it's just the same song and fucking dance. What is it going to take for people to actually get up and do something about it is more what I'm interested in. Tonight, this evening, we are just going to have a beautiful roundtable rants. We're going to hit a bunch of different subjects. I have a couple of guests that are going to be popping in and out. Some you have heard from before on previous episodes. Some may be new. One familiar person and a very big heartbeat, heart muscle in the RWO, which is the Real World Order, is Lone Wolf, who is joining me this evening. How are you doing, brother?
System is messing it, just falling apart. So if y'all leave me, I'm rebooting so I get a better signal.
Gotcha. Well, glad you're with us,
How
brother.
Are you doing?
Oh,
I
and
know you've been working hard on the TPP and all the other initials and pulling your hair out.
Yeah.
What do you have there on top?
Yeah, I've been going through the alphabet policies, as I like to call them, because it's TPP, TTIP, TISA, CISPA. It just goes on and on and on. Yeah, I've been chasing those, and no, I've been pretty good, man. I can't lie. I've been pretty blessed. Just coming up with some new ideas for ANTRN, which is ANT Radio Network, which is what we are hosted by. And coming up with some new ideas to bring facts to people. But other than that, man, I've been good. Listeners, I do want to let you know that we are taking callers this evening, so do be ready. I will hit you on and let you know, hey, are you listening? Are you calling a comment? Like I got a listener right now in queue, so I'm going to hit you up here in a second. The call-in number is 347-850-8945. Again, the call-in number, if you want to call, comment, gripes, constructive criticism, bullshit, whatever you want to do, 347-850-8945. Before we go any further here, let me see who's on our line here. Hi, caller. Are you calling to comment or just to listen?
It's just R.
Oh, hey, R. What's going on, brother? Hey, actually, it's really good that you're on because I know we got you for a short time here. R, to let our listeners know, R is part of the inner workings of the Green Knights. He is one of us, basically. I work with him a lot. He's a dear brother of ours. So I got him for a short time. He's calling in between work, so we got to crunch up this time while we got it. R, what are some things that you want to bring up to our listeners as the world turns this 2016?
Well, there's been a big shift, I think, not only worldwide but nationwide, especially in the state side, about the focal points of activism. I like to consider, I consider civil rights movements and revolutions in general something that is not entirely dissimilar to a baby being born. A lot of the times, and when a child learns to use its voice for the first time, it's generally not Gore Vidal that's coming out of its mouth. It's Mama and Papa. And I'm kind of just, I've spent the last couple months off-grid kind of reflecting on the merits and tenets to raising awareness, how to affect change in your environment, and how the attitude and the economy of doing that has changed so massively, not just in the last 2 years, but in the last couple months. So I guess my answer or reflection to you would be what things have been going on in the last 10 years in the United States as far as the voice of the civil rights movement being formed, and what are the things that we've gained putting on, and what are the places that we've lost, and how we can, the things that I'm coming up with now is like how we can avoid the things that are detracting the momentum from the things that we create, namely the pervasive co-opting of groups once they hit a certain threshold, be it of one body on the street or just being noticed and everything. So I hope that is general enough for you.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, I'm gonna rewind back here kind of quick, and before we get in more into that, good evening, Olander.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us on ATG this evening. I wanted to, I guess the first thing that I really wanted to bring awareness to what you said is the homeless factor. We have Operation Right to Rest, Operation Safe Winter. There are a lot of different operations that go toward that, and I think that is definitely something that ties into the whole family thing because it's a community thing, and it does severely get ignored. One of the things, I guess I don't have a foolproof answer as of like a remedy, but one of the examples I give is that try to be aware of your surroundings. That's something that we learned as kids. It's a basic human survival technique. Be aware of your surroundings, kind of a survival of the fittest rule. And if you're aware of your surroundings, you can see the difference between a bum who just wants to get money to drink liquor or a family who's been kicked out and actually show some kind of compassion. I guess the biggest answer to it is give more compassion and be more understanding and not so judgmental, which seems so general in itself, but that's a very big thing that we lack as a society and as a community. And then these big NGOs and everything else put their paws into it and put rule to it, and then it gets all distorted from there. I guess is my answer to that. Oh, what do you think?
Well, it's funny you mentioned those operations. I have a huge criticism for modern-day activism versus the traditional activism. There's not really that much that goes on with Anonymous or any of the other old Occupy movements that have converted themselves into some type of activist wing if they remain focused. If you look at the way we deal with headlines on Facebook or Twitter or even our channel surfing habits, we do not have a very long attention span. And you see operations being conducted every 5 minutes, it seems like. There's operation this, operation that. The longevity of an operation really depends on those that are committed to a specific function and to a specific agenda item. So you have people that want to throw the mask on, go out, help a few homeless or whatever, but it's generally all they do is they feed. And that's it. They come back when they can, and this is great. This is serving a need. But looking for the overall solution is really difficult, and the problem I have is that the people that make up the bulk of any one action themselves already have issues they need to deal with. So if you can't pay rent, and you don't have a car, and you don't have all this stuff, and you can't help yourself, you need to kind of really refocus your energy so you can be a better activist in the future. So help when you can, that's great, but I think people need to be focused really strongly. Try to find the end-all solution. If you want to give a place for these people to live safely and have food and have transportation to where the jobs are, and you're going to have to work with employers, you're going to have to purchase land, you're going to have to work with a bus system. You're really going to have to focus on that issue and really come up with the end-all solution. Because slapping Band-Aids on a problem it only lasts for so long. And then they're still hungry, they still don't have a job, they still don't have a place to live. And as a result, to your action and to your interference, it becomes illegal for you to feed. These people get kicked out, go to jail, get fines they can't pay, become wards of the prison system when they could have been helped all along. And the leaderless environment that we have, I think for certain operations, really the collective need to find a leader for the operation, and stick with that plan. Sometimes getting outside of the norm, we're a leaderless environment, but that's not necessarily true. All operations have a coordinator. The welfare ones do. So if everything, and I'm just using this as one example, I'm not picking on homeless people, I'm just saying that's one example. Everything we do as activists generally are either well-focused, well-rehearsed, and well thought out, or they're haphazard and have inconsistent results.
I every time, thinking of that and listening to that, the Operation Matrix 3 comes into mind, because one of the foundations of that is that if you are not going to prepare and understand fully at all angles of what you're doing, then you are actually contributing to the problem instead of the solution. You need to step back and make sure that you are ready on all terms of what you're going to take on as a task. and a responsibility, because you can be doing more harm half-assed than you would just not picking it up at all.
Sure, and I'm all great with, and I have done everything in my power over the last decade to try to bring an activist from. What the hell is that?
I have no idea.
Oh, sorry, that's an F-40, F-15 probably flying through the computer or something. So, I think that having turned activists out over the last decade and try to refine their skills, that I'm a big proponent of, when you start out with them as a group, you're putting together your local faction. They may start out only being able to draw on a poster board, throw on a mask, and yell at their target. But by the time they come out of service and move on, I would hope that the group would have refined their skills and help them get through law school, help them have a tech career, help them become a medic, help them work together to try to improve the skills. We need nurses, doctors, lawyers, medics. We need legal assistants. Where are all the lawyers? These are things that are important, and just complaining all the time and not refining the self will not help refine the end result.
I agree 100%. Lone Wolf, what do you think here?
It's very interesting because the homeless topic come up, because as I was doing technical stuff before, and it was just the way it came through on YouTube, that all these people need is just one little chance. And I was watching the one guy, he had 3 college degrees, and he was an aeronautics engineer. And it only took one person to put that on. And I guess he was from Cleveland or whatever, and he got on. The next gentleman was homeless, old fella, probably in his 70s, and he was a subway singer in New York. He got out on YouTube. And like I said, it's not people that work at McDonald's or these places. One lady was a bank teller. And we know what's happened. The economy's still in the tank. And they lost everything. Was it because we can speculate all we want, but these are real people and with real problems. And you have to wonder. And then the next one that came through literally gave me goosebumps and a big lump in my throat, because all of us in here know what Anonymous does and how they are. And it was a Million Mask March Day, and there was probably a few hundred, several hundred or more, I don't know, because they wouldn't. It was like a freaking marathon, but they were all masked. Every one of them come up and gave at least $5 to this homeless man. So people.
Oh yeah, I remember them.
Anonymous and
stuff.
Yeah, there was a mainstream article about that. I'm not even going to kid you. The way that article was written and the cross article that I saw, there was such a huge slant on that, to the degree where I wasn't even sure if they were doing it as a propaganda tool or if they were doing it to demonize it, because then the one paragraph supported the image, and then as you keep reading on down the article, they start to point out other things. But nevertheless, Art, what else are you? What's on your mind, buddy?
Well, I mean, it seems like that y'all have kind of picked a course for this thing, which is the first year that we're running through with the Matrix 3 op of the feeding the need and trying to turn it out of a seasonal thing into where we can find a solution-based thing. So I guess what I would pose to y'all, and the things that I would think about, not even necessarily in regards to this, but anything that somebody might approach, is is what you're dealing with the problem itself, or is it a systemic representation of a bigger problem? Because a lot of times in activism, we can kind of get short-sighted and see one thing as a problem, when in reality it's an amalgamation of a number of different injustices that just end up turning up that. And the homeless, quote-unquote, problem is a lot of that. But there are people on the flip side of that who make the choice to be nomadic in their lives and everything like that. So as we approach these things, I think it's just very important for us to not only question what we're dealing with, but where we are morally on imposing ourselves into a situation to where it may or may not be in the best interests of all the parties involved and everything. So is feeding people something bad? No. It's great that we can do that. I mean, it makes everybody feel good that's got a full stomach and the people that want to do it. If you're feeding people at the cost of feeding yourself, yes, you can do yourself a disservice by wanting to give away yourself in activism. It can be dangerous like that because there's a bit of a throttle to it. For a lot of people, you can kind of get drunk in activism, especially when you start doing it the first couple times. That's where you talk about the Matrix 1 and the Matrix 2, is being able to draw yourself back away enough objectively from a situation to figure out what you can realistically do, and having enough discipline to do that, and being able to see things for what they are and not for what you want them to be. So I guess my theme tonight, before I close it, is you as an individual, whether you're starting to wanting to affect change, and you're doing so by spreading of information, by informing yourself, or if you've been in the gauntlet for a number of years and you've waved the signs and you've preached on the street corners and you've done the news interviews and seen how they land and everything like that, you have to think out of the box and think contextually, because that's how small numbers of people make things happen on that level. You have to go, this is my problem, and how can I work back from it, and see all the steps in between it, because that's when you start to realistically see change, because it's not just you doing that. It's the person that's like you, statistically supported, that's off in another city that has the same problem, that's wanting to go out and do it with 2 or 3 other people, and then you find out there's 16 people. That's how March Against Monsanto happened. You know, that's how Ron Paul happened. It was people that just felt like there was something bigger in them, and they didn't know who it was, and they had to reach out and plug into people, and they're like, all right, this is bigger than me, but I can only do what I can do now. So learn how to effectively coordinate with people and be realistic about not only what's in front of you, but the solutions that you apply to those problems.
I agree. And just to add to that, I would definitely say also making sure that you understand the road that it took for you to get there and not to repeat it. And then also to be able to spread that to somebody else who might not be in the exact same situation, but a similar situation, and be able to shed maybe a different point of view on it that might work for you. Like I always tell people, it doesn't fucking hurt to try. It really doesn't. It's better than standing still. You get nothing accomplished. Thank you, R, for joining us. Dangerous thing.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're fine.
No, as you were saying, I guess in closing remarks, one of the most dangerous things that you can do in activism is inactivism. The worst thing that you can do is not protest because it's not perfect, or not have a form of expression of that because you don't feel like it's worth it, or this and that. Not to throw yourself into the wall at something that you know that's going to fail or anything like that, but if you sit around on your laurels and your thumbs all day, there is no such thing as perfect protest. What there is you learning from the mistakes that you made and not making them again. So
exactly.
Bless all y'all. I'm going to run in and teach some yoga. So y'all take it easy.
All right. Thank you, brother, for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. That was R. Thank you for joining us. While I have you guys on, while I have O and Lone Wolf online here, I want to talk about my least favorite subject, and that would be the presidential campaign circus and how the fields have narrowed down, and the hoopla behind the upcoming primaries in Ohio and Cleveland. What do you think of speaking of activism and protesters, what do you think of the coverage that you've seen from independent media, the things that we have explored and talked about in our closed groups and groups public? What do you guys think of the whole anti-Trump
a Sanders Clinton crowd versus the Trump supporters, because you see a couple of different angles depending on what sources you look at, and you know how that shit goes. We'll start with what do you think of it? What have you seen of it?
Okay, this is a multi-layered answer because first of all, if the sincere activist, sincere protester, I'm all about their First Amendment rights. Absolutely, protest all you will. However, if they're a paid protester, I have nothing but contempt for them for several reasons. Source of the money, which, as you know, very outspoken about what's going to happen if I catch them because of the Nazi connection. The second is people who are paid to go out and do something may or may not be given certain instructions that will lead a herd astray. The average protester might just do what they're going to do. But once you get somebody with some influence in there, an agent provocateur, for example, it leads them down a path that not only violates Anonymous Rule of 22, but also gets them in trouble for trouble that they may or may not have gotten themselves into to begin with. Sucks to be them. At the same time, those who honestly and sincerely protest are there because they feel a certain way about a political candidate, and I'm all for that. But the thing that bothers me is when I see footage of people blocking roadways. Who the hell do you think you are? You just assume that every person behind is going to go to that Trump rally or whatever. You don't take into account that there are people there that may need to go get food. I'm talking about the one out in the middle of nowhere, blocking an interstate. This isn't the only way into the Trump rally. This is the only way into town. And so all those people that I saw, out of the thousands of cars that went from the point of the protest all the way back, you reasonably can assume that there were people there that needed to get medicine or go get food for their children, go to work, who had no intention of getting caught up in your bullshit. In fact, they may hate Trump too. They just want to feed their children. And when you start interfering with children, there's a big problem. So, that to the actual nature of it itself, that's my opinion. As far as the coverage of it, whether it's right wing, left wing, centrist, libertarian, whatever, it's usually used to incite emotion and feeling. The coverage itself, to me, is the actual distraction because it goes way beyond just informing people. You see a strand of the same comments over and over and over again for days and weeks on end, as each person discovers an old news story like they were the first person on the planet to see it. So, which I hate that too. I hate seeing something from 3 years ago suddenly surface. Oh, there's my comment from 3 years ago. You know, so meanwhile, this entire debate is a year in advance. During the course of the year, the Saudis have received nuclear weapons. Cuba is now arming with weapons. The supervolcanoes are getting ready to erupt. What else? The Kurds are trying to fight against NATO and ISIS, which there's all this other stuff happening. And this is important because this is what's driving policy behind the scenes. And we're too busy worried about whether Trump is a rhino, a true conservative, a Democrat, is he working for Hillary, Bernie Sanders, what's up with the hair, a Green Party, Libertarian Party, all this stuff. All this stuff is happening, and we're not worried about it because we're out throwing fits and temper tantrums, So I'm already. I don't know. That's my summary. I'm sure I'm all over the map there, but whatever.
No, it's all good. That's exactly what this show's about, brother. You're good to go. Hey, Lone Wolf, what is your reply on this? You there, Lone Wolf? All right. I knew he was having some technical issues. You there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, okay. I said I don't know how much more I could add to O because he pretty much covered all the front runners. And speaking of front runners, do you notice all this, like he said, all the PR, whether they're getting slipped some money or what, the footage out, and it's always the front runners that seem to be getting all this PR. Then their poll numbers sort of bolster or something. But I will add this. Like he said, over the last year or so, and like I said, and you know yourself, Rux, a lot of us have been, like, pounding different things and several things and whatnot. But anyway, I saw a clip. It literally made me sick to my stomach. It was Bill Clinton campaigning for Hillary. And he not only did it once, but he's done it several times when a veteran stood up and started questioning him. And every time, Clinton either asked him to be escorted out, sit down and shut up, and then I just saw one where there was a rally in West Virginia after Hillary said about doing away with the coal industry and going all alternative for the United States. Well, then she's sort of backtracking on that statement, and she's saying, oh, no, it was for me to tell you to be warned. Well, the one thing you don't mess with, in Wyoming and West Virginia, you don't even breathe the word coal, and they're going to get you. So, yeah, I agree with what O said 100% because what's the underlying here on all these front runners like Sanders, Trump, Clinton, and you can pretty much write off Cruz and them now. So, but, yeah, I agree with that.
Well, you got to remember. Go ahead, O.
I was going to say, even Cruz and the people that we don't necessarily see anymore, they all had connections to issues we all agree that we hate. CFR, Goldman Sachs, Soros. Guy's got his fingers in everything. So, just ditch DC altogether. Screw it.
Yeah. Lord, this is why this is my least favorite subject, so I'm going to end up wrapping it up with something funny. Look, at the end of the day, I look at it as usually I follow the money. As everybody knows, I am seriously obsessed with that because yet in the last 15 years that I've been doing this, have I not found the damn culprit or found new culprits of issues that already existed that I thought I had full understanding of. The amount of money that gets dumped into these campaigns, the super PACs, the whole fucking kitty caboodle is fucking ridiculous when you look at our, $49 trillion deficit. When you looked at our middle class is eating ramen noodles just like our lower class because there isn't too much of a difference. But yet, no, let me spend $4 billion on a campaign to talk about something that we already fucking know that the mainstream media says is a conspiracy theory, which I think is hilarious. It's a big waste of fucking time. It really is. As far as the protesters or whatever you want to call them, I think it is just blatantly ignorant that you cannot actually open up a dialogue with these people. I don't care what side of the aisle that you're on. You have lost my attention and your credibility when you cannot have a healthy discussion, a simple dialogue, because through dialogue is how we are going to be able to see each other's points and find a resolve. But nobody wants to resolve, as O had indicated and other people have indicated on the show today, is that when you have provocateurs and other interests that come in there, look, at the end of the day, these people are going to do whatever the hell they want to do. It's like giving a bum $50 and telling them to bring me my change back. There's probably a good 90% chance he's not going to bring your fucking money back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2016 presidential circus. Good night. Anyway, with that being said, I do want to wrap that up with something funny. Like I said, this is actually a meme that's a true meme, and I even looked it up, which it just blew my mind. It came at me shortly before the show, so I have several tools of the week. So as the subjects go along, I'll be pointing them out. This one goes to Michelle Blackwell. I'm not going to give you advertising airtime. You're the tool of the week, but I will tell you why she is the tool of the week, kind of, sort of. She works for Heritage Real Estate Group at Keller Williams Realty in Texas. This is why it brought my attention, speaking of the presidential circus. Leaving the country if Trump is elected president? Give me a call and let's get your home sold.
Where do I mail the plane ticket?
Holy shit. Ladies and gentlemen, do you understand that people literally seriously feel that the world is going to come to an end if Trump is elected? But nobody said nothing about Obama, and he got elected twice. Nobody said shit about Bush, which is exactly just the carry-all down the trickle line of it coming to head. It seriously makes me laugh, and it actually kind of makes me sad. With that being said, I want to switch gears to my second least favorite subject, because this is why I was missing for that little while, is ICE. But I'm going to report on this because it's pretty fucking funny if you ask me, but not really funny. ICE releases 19,723 criminal illegals. 208 of them convicted of murder, 900 of sexual crimes. This is an article by Paul Bedard, Bedard, B-E-D-A-R-D. This article was written for 28/16. This is a report coming out from 2015, and I'm just going to kind of get into some facts here. I'm not going to get deep into the article. You can look it up. Released in these illegals, these criminal illegals, were released in virtually every state and territory of America. It had a total of 64,197 convictions among them, for an average of 3.25 convictions each, according to analysis by the Center of Immigration Studies. Okay, ICE says the group was convicted of 8,234 violent crimes. Now, I'm not the type of person to really take shit as I read it, so I'm like, that's a pretty interesting number. I wonder, Operation Matrix 3, I wonder what kind of crimes these people actually have, because we all know things are always by the stats. So if you really look and do your homework, you can find stats of things. So I looked up the convictions of the alien criminals released through the Center for Immigration Studies.com, which they have all the statistical information on this subject. And they actually wrote an article on this. ICE releases 18,723 criminal aliens in 2015. This is an article written by Jessica Vaughan, Vaughan, and this article was written April 27, 2016. Now, I decided there's a long list of convictions, per se, that go into this. They break it down pretty well. But I just picked out the top 10, and I don't know. I found it pretty shocking according to the violent crimes of what the top 10 were. So I'm going to go through this really quick here and give you guys the numbers, and as always, think for yourself. Traffic offenses, DUI, liquor, 12,307, pretty violent. Traffic offenses, 9,811. Dangerous drugs. Now, mind you, ladies and gentlemen, marijuana is still considered a stage 1 narcotic and is federally illegal. Okay. 7,986. Larceny, 3,535. Ooh, okay, that's a little dangerous. I can understand that. Immigration, 3,064. Obstructing judiciary, Congress and legislator, etc. So that's bail jumping and all types of other shit like that. 2,561. Mind you, I'm still looking for these super violent crimes. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not condoning that ICE releases these criminals back into our society, but Anyway. Number 7, general crimes, 2008. Number 8, burglary, 1,963. Fraudulent activities, which that's just a general layover all in itself, or tab, I should say, 1,880. And then 10, assault. Okay, that one got my attention, 1,728. Now, some notables for you is things that I thought were pretty important when you're letting people back into society. Family offenses, 763. Sex offenses, 614. Sexual assault, 320. Homicide, 101. And simple assault, 229. So that was pretty interesting of those statistics there. Now, I did break it down even more and looked at the criminal aliens released by ICE in between years. So this is fiscal year 2013 to fiscal year 2015. Hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen, because as you guys know, I'm a very factual person, so you are going to get hit with a lot of numbers, but stay with me. I picked out the top, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I picked up the top 5 of the states, because if you look at the grid that they have on the website, it's green. So it's dark green. The darker the green, the more of these elite criminal aliens were released, okay? So keep in mind, this is fiscal year 2013 to fiscal year 2015, okay, year by year. So number 1, Texas, all right? 2013, they had 673 released. 2014, they had 5,146 released there. And then in 2015, they had 3,349 for a grand total of 14,568 of these criminal aliens being released by ICE. Okay, I'm going to have another demographic to go coincide with these states here in just a second. Now we got California. All right, 2013, 8,597. 2014, 6,304. 2015, 3,777 for a grand total of 18,678. Keep in mind the crises that are going on in California. Arizona, 2013, 2,084. 2014, 1,797. 2015, 1,224 for a total of 5,105. These are lighter green, so you, like I said, the darker the green, the more of them. Arizona pretty much starts capping off the lighter green here, but still some pretty high numbers. Florida, 2013, 1,967. 2014, 1,721. 2015, 1,101 for a total of 4,789. And then last but not least, New Jersey. Oh, Chrissy. 2013, 1,318. 2014, 1,340. 2015, 1,014 for a grand total of 3,672. Now, as I said, I had my Operation Matrix 3 helmet on when I was doing this, so I said, you know what? I wonder what the state and local debt is of the top 5 or of these states as well. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? It's funny how these are going to go together. Now, Texas, this is all according to billions. Okay, and this is the state and local debt. The source of my information is usgovernmentspending.com. Okay, now for Texas, all right, $281.8 billion is your state and local debt. Mind you, how many of these illegal aliens, illegal criminal aliens that ICE released, this isn't even including the ones that they're flooding into the borders. Okay, this is why I'm giving you this information, because you do not understand the climax and the severity of what is going on in your backyard. California, okay, their state and local debt, $443.8 billion. Arizona, $49.6 billion. Florida, $152.9 billion. And New Jersey, $99.9 billion. Now, I said, okay, Operation Matrix 3, let me think again. What's the top 5 highest? Number 1, California. Number 2, New York with $372.9 billion for state and local debt. Texas. Number 4 is Illinois. That's 57.5 billion. And number 5 is Florida. I will literally let that sink in. Might want to start getting on the phone with your representatives. A lot more going on that mainstream is talking about. Lone Wolf, what do you think of the information I just shot out there?
Where to start? Do they say what ethnicity they are, or is it all Mexicans and Latinos that they release? You do know that? I'm assuming.
No, I didn't. Yeah,
I'm assuming it is because of the high numbers that we've been working over the last, year and a half, something like that, or year, whatever. Yeah. But let me throw this out there, because we're going to have the people, well, those son of a bitches are criminals. Well, yes, no. I'm going to sort of play a little bit of devil's advocate here, and you'll understand why when I start speaking of this. The criminal aspect of it. What makes a criminal? Okay, everybody has their own, but the vehicle code for a criminal. You don't use your turn signal. They pull them over. They don't have a green card. Boom. Where are they going? Straight to jail. Arrested on the street.
Actually, if you look at some of the mainstream, and not even mainstream, but if you look at some of the news out there, especially when you talk to Border Patrol and everything else, they're being ordered to let half of them go.
Exactly. But here's the other side of that, is they're letting all these thousands of people go. What the hell happened to all that money? They just pissed it down the toilet because they had to pay a prosecutor, they had to pay all these people down the line. Now they're saying, hey, giving them the middle finger, like back in the 80s, hey, Iran. They gave them the middle finger. That's what the judicial system's doing, or your politicians are doing, saying we don't need them, but yet they'll pay. You and I have talked about this a few times, the Syrians coming in, and I gave you that top 10, and I can't help to wonder, they're letting all these go free, and like you said, yeah, there's a few heinous crimes in there, whatever, but yet they'll bring people over from overseas, and I don't know the exact number because there's a lot rattling around in my head, but I think the Syrians get a free pass for 7 years, and they get anywhere from $25,000 to $45,000 a year, plus free housing. Now, come on, and that doesn't take rocket science. And they said they would allow how many here? 250,000 or up to 400,000, I think it was. Hello.
Well, they're even offering. They're even if you look at some of the articles that are out right now and some of the stories that are out, we have programs where there's earthquake relief, where migrants can come over, immigrants can come over. There's so many programs and so many loopholes for them to come over without being even vetted, which we're going to talk about the Zika virus, because I know I haven't really gotten much into disease on ATG. So, and there's a lot to that, and we'll get into that more in the second hour here. But, man, go ahead.
Well, you're right. People understand this, please. We're not against immigrants. We want to help those that are really struggling. But whenever they have a potential to cause us harm or peddle drugs, then we have a problem.
I see, and that's my thing. I don't have a problem with immigration at all, but what I do have a problem with is illegal immigration. I do. I'm sorry. I can't go over to Iraq and just be cool.
You're right. You're right. And I don't want to say much, but if anybody, you should be highly pissed off about this. You know what I mean? Because all these illegals coming in, think how many, there was 20-some or 30-some million that's been here for over 15, 20 years, and they want to send them back whenever they have paid taxes, bought cars, contributed back. But these people that are working for $5-6 an hour cash, they go around the corner, they hide, they're at work the next day. Like you said, those are the people we have a problem with, that's taking the money back across the border.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not even that. Well, yeah, it is that. I'm sorry, it is that. But I'm saying, to add to that, when you have Mexicans who are talking about, I'm ready to go back to Mexico, ladies and gentlemen, I think there's a problem with our country. That's kind of, we used to be the country that everybody flooded to, and now they're wanting to flood out because it's so screwed up, and we as a people can't even understand it. It's mind-boggling. We're actually about 10 minutes away from our halfway point here, and we are going to be playing Sage Francis, Hey Bobby. So thank you, Strange Famous Records, for letting us play your jams. We do appreciate your artists and your music, and the permission to use your music. Also, please go ahead and check us out, us being the RWO. On Facebook, facebook.com/groups/the official group of the Real World Order. You can also check out Against the Grain at facebook.com/Against the Grain Radio. Our mother show, facebook.com/Beyond the Veil Radio. The Green Knights, /The Green Knights, /Operation Matrix 3 with the Roman numerals. To check out our foundation. We work really hard to bring you guys the facts. We really do work around the clock because it's important. Like I said, and has always been the mission, we just want to leave this place a little bit better than how we got it for these babies and for this planet. There's no reason why we can't. I wanted to get into one of the tools of the week again. Like I said, I have quite a few of them because there's just a couple stories that took up my fancy. Al Gore. Okay, we all know how much I love Al Gore. If you're not familiar about how I feel about Al Gore, please feel free to go to our more mobile-friendly platform of SoundCloud.com/Anonymous North Texas. And check out some past episodes with the tag Al Gore. But anyway, Al Gore basically wants to cover up the carbon footprint. What do you breathe out? Use your head. So what are you exactly trying to cover? And also he believes that if we pay money, we can save the environment. I never knew Ben Washington, any of them, to save the planet. But anyway, he has been saying this for well over 15 years, and the Daily Caller called him out on his bullshit. And the article title is, and I'm not getting into it because I'm not going to give him that kind of time, but it is a good article for you to go read. The headline is An Inconvenient Review. After 10 years, Al Gore's film is still alarmingly inaccurate, by Michael Bashwak, Bastach. It's an article written 5/3/16. I do encourage you guys to go check that out. It is amazing how he still is trying to weed his way into the UN and other NGOs to support this bullshit. Climate change is real, of course. Anyway, I'm not gonna get all into that. 7 minutes left, buddy. What do you wanna talk about here for the next 7 minutes before we wrap up this hour?
Well, I'll just touch a little bit on what you're saying about the global warming or supposed whatever, which we know is bullshit. If it's so bad, I don't want to mention this, but I'm going to anyway because you brought up about the virus and stuff. I'm just going to jump around a little bit here. Chemtrails. Okay, every state pretty much knows that they're spraying. People look up. You can see the difference. There's aluminum in it, all kinds of shit. Okay, and they want to do a CO2 tax. How are they going to do it? They can't because they're not going to have somebody in everybody's home saying, okay, you burned 3 cords of wood this week. We're going to charge you $150 to where a guy down the street's using heating oil, just because it doesn't smoke as much as wood, it still it's like a diesel truck, but that's crazy. But I want the people to understand how much money controls. Like you said, follow the money. I'm going to be careful here because copyright issues, so bear with me. If people were to search on YouTube, I can't give the exact thing, so I'm going to be creative here. Search YouTube, Michael Jackson Speaks Out. I can't say the rest, but Michael Jackson does a very good point about the rich, the powerful, and the government. That's all I'm going to say. But you were saying about the virus. If people, I'm not going to plug a movie here, but I'm sure they can figure it out when I say the last guy's, his last name's Cruz. They had one of his series about the Chimera virus. I think that's been years ago, right? How many times have you heard? How many times have you heard the Chimera virus on any media outlet lately? No, I shouldn't say lately. Over the last couple of years, a good bit. Where did that generate from? Are we that stupid, people? You know, whenever the flu shot last year was only 23% effective on those 50 and under. We're talking healthy individuals. Kids, it's much less. Those over 55, it fell down to single-digit percent. A neighbor of mine was sick for over 3 weeks this year, really sick, went to the doctor. And the doctor said, "Did you get a flu shot?" She said, "Yes, I did." He goes, "Totally worthless." He said, "Every year we give out close to 500. He said, "We only gave out 20 this year because I told people not to get it." When doctors are telling you that shit, wake up. But that's, and if I may say something real quick, and I'll try to be as quick as I can in the earlier segment about what I wanted to finish, but had to get going about the coal and how they're trying to push it out. Here's one thing I want the people to realize. Yeah, coal, there's some good, there's some bad, okay? What you see in the media is bullshit. They get rid of coal, you're going to lose truck drivers, you're going to use machine shops, you're going to use fitting shops, you're going to lose general laborers, you're going to use, a big hit, clean on down the line. And they need to realize that, to where alternative energy, how many jobs has it created so far? They said, what they say his first, second term, it would create over 200 million jobs or 100, something like that worldwide. Where's the numbers? But anyway, that's just something that I wanted to get out, and I really look forward to the next hour because I know you have something to say about Soros in there somewhere. I can just hear it rattling up there. You're not going to go.
No. I'm going to save that for I got quite a few things on Soros. I need a little more time than we have this evening for that tyrant. With that being said, the whole thing, especially about the whole coal thing and everything else, this is something that goes all the way back to her husband. Just like the whole fucking war on drugs shit goes all the way back to the predecessors. This is nothing more but a huge, huge, huge bubble. And right now, our planet is full of them. I'm talking about financial, economical, it doesn't matter, naturally. Like I said, we're going to get into the Zika virus and everything else. Into the second hour, we're going to get through some articles that really, I think, deserve more attention. With that being said, we are at our halfway point here. So without further ado, we have Sage Francis' Strange Famous Records. About it.
Most Americans love their country. The rights we have under our Constitution were paid for in blood by our founding fathers and with the lives of untold American servicemen and women. The ultimate sacrifice these patriotic Americans have made allows us a freedom that's unmatched in any other country in the world. But what if an unexpected enemy threatened to remove all liberty protected by our Constitution and to substitute in its place a complete police state dictatorship that knows no law, limited only by its own whim? The following program is an urgent wake-up call.
By the time the flags rotted off of their antennas. They were questioning who the real threat is. Big brotherly love is the 21st century's plague. No matter how bloody the glove, question evidence displayed. Don't forget what 2 + 2 equals. Don't let them upgrade your math. No matter what they have as proof of evil. Remember when they went after the Jewish people? You don't recognize the same black mask as see-through? Attack of the eagle. If they don't fall dead before they reach me, I'll be damned if I don't shoot one in his bald head. Fuck what we're force-fed. All I ever wanted was a warm bed and house that wasn't haunted. I'd rather die for a cause than to die just because we exhausted natural resources, forced into war, restoring wasteful ways, keeping other countries poor. Monkey see, monkey do. I wonder what that fucking monkey saw. Keep rethinking, still frames in your mind. I guarantee they will change with time. Your outline is pixelated, poor resolution, while downtime is simply wasted. You were born execution style. Head first in a trial, I'll second the motion till the jury's bored to death and puts your neck in an ocean. Situation volatile. The naked is trying to find the right clown costume to make his father smile. So he bombs while he tries to tell jokes. Ain't a false alarm. Can't you smell the smoke? You're in the line of fire where they buy and sell votes. Our sense of liberty doesn't ring true, stupid. That's why the bell broke. Trenchcoat mafiosos repel rock at recruitment officers and rebel against cops till they hurtle infinite circles in small cell blocks. Turtle upon turtle till they're all shell-shocked. This so-called president got elected in a courtroom with war efforts of pops. Inherited a fortune. We talk, so the veterans of war assume the revolution stopped. Hey Bobby, the masters are back. They're back. And they're up to no good, just like the old days. They play dead when you stood over their grave. Bobby. They play dead when you stood over their grave. Don't you know? Hey Bobby, the masters are back. They're back. And it's our turn to stand over their grave. Don't you know? I'ma do it right this time, right this time. I'ma wait until their skin decays. You can't roam a lost land as the last existing dinosaur. There's no escaping ass kickings in these times of war. Replacing apples with hospitals where doctors are hostile. Killing 2 pterodactyls with 1 fossil. I got you. If they don't fall dead before they reach me, I'll be damned if I don't shoot one in his bald head. Fuck what we're force-fed. All I ever wanted was a warm bed and house that wasn't haunted. You can thumb through novels to have your fingerprints match descriptions of thinking criminals committing innocent acts of compassion. Tired civilians crawling with pistols. We fired $1 million warning missiles. Force the issues in the back of your head where eyes roll. Brainwash yourself out of that mind control. Act a fool like you're told, but we won't see no justice till that bitch removes the blindfold. This ain't a love it or leave it, it's a change it or lose it. I won't sing the anthem of a nation who never faces the music. Chasing an elusive caveman in spaceships that make trips to the futures at a name brand. Faking progress, but we ain't advanced enough to change the posture of our ape stance. They got the key to the city, still they prefer the break and entry, duck and weave. I'm shedding light inside the shadow box to make it empty. Bobby, the masters are back. They're back. And they're up to no good, just like the old days. They play dead when you stood over their grave. Bobby. They play dead when you stood over their grave. Don't you know? Hey Bobby, them bastards are back. They're back. And it's our turn to stand over their grave. Don't you know? I'ma do it right this time, right this time. I'ma wait until their skin decays. Attack of the eagles. If they don't fall dead before they reach me, I'll be damned if I don't shoot one in his bald head. Fuck what we're force-fed. All I ever wanted was a warm bed. There's nothing scarier than the human stories I tell. Ghosts killing accounts with my tongue frozen to bedposts. The catharsis of carcasses whenever threats are close. Shows a heartlessness that doesn't register in stethoscopes. Sell your hopes for a homeland security chart till your sense of self are broken. No man's here in the heart. Preventive detention for the folks who never left home. Tensions have grown 24/7 red zone. Scare tactics got you under control. The fear factor of a color code. The uppers know they can't hold you down without having anchors attached. It's all the same. Nah, balls and chains and ankles don't match. So drag your torso back to the off-road. We may have lost the fashion battle, but we ain't lost the wardrobe. Go window shopping for your next 3 meals. 'Cause when we start the revolution, all you probably do is steal. Hey Bobby, the masters are back. They're back. And they're up to no good, just like the old days. They play dead when you stood over their grave. Bobby. They play dead when you stood over their grave. Don't you know? Hey Bobby, the masters are back. They're back. And it's our turn to stand over their grave. Don't you know? I'ma do it right this time. 'Cause I'ma wait.
I'ma do it right this time. I'ma wait. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I know, tell me about it. Welcome to the second hour of Against the Grain as the World Turns 2016. It is May 10th, 2016, and you are rocking with the ANT Radio Network. I am your host, Rush Perez, and I am being co-piloted by my awesome buddy, Lone Wolf of the RWO. We got into activism. We got into the presidential campaign circus in the first hour. Again, that was Sage Francis. Hey, Bobby, thank you, Strange Famous Records again. Also, please check out mubsbeats.com. He is the man responsible for that awesome, incredible beat that you hear as the intro to my show, mixed by none other than our very own Switchblade of A&T Records. So thank you. You guys are awesome. Definitely check out Mubs Beats. He has awesome beats for Leaf. And also exclusively, he is an awesome guy, and I'll be working on an album this year, and he will definitely be helping me with that. As I said, he has amazing beats. Before I get into some other news here, I do want to let you guys know I'm bumping things up as far as the ANT Network. I've been talking about it for a while, and this is actually the beginning or the alpha of my researching way back in the day, were secret societies. The powers that be, that shouldn't be, that are in very much existence, that people say we were tinfoil hat conspiracy. Therefore, I find it to be interesting how people label things a conspiracy. But anyway, I want to dedicate a series to this. So it will be called Against the Grain SSS, which is the Secret Society series. It'll always be in the title or whatnot, and I'll let you guys know when those shows are going to be coming, but definitely look for that. Also, we will be having more A&T news blitzes. To give you guys some real quick information, about a 15-20 minute show or so, so it doesn't take too much of your time, but gives you some really good info. So definitely look out for that. We're always looking to get you guys information as quickly as possible. Like I said earlier in the first hour, the Zika virus is something that to me is a lot different than the Ebola bullshit. It's not bullshit. Don't get me wrong. People are dying and they're getting hurt from that. But just how the news made it out to be, and then it went away. And then they did it for the swine flu, and then it went away. And metamorphosized and modernized, and now you're getting a bunch of super bugs. You're getting a bunch of super viruses. If you're not familiar with the Zika virus, I am definitely going to get into an article and some facts from the WHO, which is the World Health Organization, which is the UN arm of the One World Health. Because if you don't know by now, everything is one world government, one world everything. This is a Yahoo News article. The title is Why the Zika Virus is Causing Alarm. It's actually an article that comes from Reuters, April 25th, 2016. The Zika virus started in Brazil about a year ago. Okay, so this has had about a year to manifest. Let me get a little bit into exactly what Zika is. Zika is transmitted to people through the bite of infected female mosquitoes, primarily the Aedes aegypti, aegypti mosquito, the same type that spreads dengue, dengue, CHIKUNGUNYA, and yellow fever. Now, the other ones, don't even ask me. I'm really not into the whole medical thing. But the yellow fever is going to play a part as I get deeper into the facts, so stay with me here. The Pan American Health Organization, or the PAHO, said Aedes mosquitoes are found in all countries in the Americas except Canada and continental Chile, and the virus will likely reach all countries and territories of the region where Aedes mosquitoes are found. Okay, so basically, a long story short, they are expecting this to go worldwide. Now, before I go on to some stats from the WHO, here's kind of what I've gotten from researching this, because I do think this is going to be a big deal. And not necessarily because of the virus itself, but because of the carelessness of it. And let me explain to you what I mean. How the hell do you run out of vaccines? No, I'm sorry. How do you not only run out of vaccines, but you run out of the emergency stockpile of the vaccine? Because you only have enough for immunization seasons, which I always find interesting of how they're going to be able to dictate that. Okay? That's why I think this is important. This is why I think it's going to get out of hand. I also think it's going to get out of hand because they just said that there was no worry about it. Now it's an epidemic. Okay? They also said that it can't be spread sexually. Yes, it can. There's no cure for this, ladies and gentlemen, okay? There's no cure for this at all, okay? I'll continue. The World Health Organization says it will take approximately 18 months to find a preventive shot, not a cure shot, a preventive shot. The carelessness and gap in between this epidemic and them being able to contain it is what should raise alarm to you. I'll continue. Brazil has confirmed 1,113 cases of microcephaly, which is microcephaly. Now, without getting super deep into that and getting all medical, please feel free to go do your research on that. But this is the first reports of this disease coming up and making mainstream news is when babies were coming out, because this affects pregnant women the most, and new fetuses or new babies that are coming out, and they're coming out deformed with bigger heads and immune problems and neurological problems. This is the first report of that. Okay, that's what the microcephaly disease is. They are also investigating an additional 3,836 suspected cases. Okay, that's well over 4,000 cases just in Brazil alone. Okay, Colombia has confirmed 2 cases. Now, the symptoms of Zika is mild fever, skin rash, conjunctivitis. I'm not even going to get into that. Muscle and joint pain and fatigue. Okay, those are pretty common symptoms for the cold or for the flu. Okay, so you can get bit with Zika and think you have the flu. They say for normal people, like males and people who aren't pregnant or whatever, there's really no harm that comes from it. Remember, they said this before, it wasn't an epidemic, remember? Anyway, they say the effects last between 2 to 7 days, and 80% infected do not get symptoms. Okay, so imagine a pregnant lady getting bit, don't even know that she's getting bit. These people aren't even finding out until their kids are coming out. So by then it's too late. It's too late, period, because the CDC and the powerful One World Health government don't even have a stockpile of this. I'll continue. Now, the thing I wanted to look in, I put in my Operation Matrix Rehab again, and I said, yellow fever. Okay, well, I just saw something in the news not too long ago about yellow fever. Let me look into this. So one of the things I found out was that we had 0 cases in the U.S. in 2015 of yellow fever, period. Okay. Now, as I'm looking into this, I see a different article. Here we go. Got a cross-reference. This is a BBC article off the Africa tab. Okay, I'm just pulling out some bullet points for this, so I'm not killing you guys with this. Angola's yellow fever outbreak could become global emergency. This is an article that was written May 10th, 2016, okay, BBC Africa. The yellow fever epidemic has killed 277 people in Angola since December, according to the UN World Health Organization. The World Health Organization says almost 6 million people have been vaccinated in Angola, which has a population of 24.3 million. Now, in April, the World Health Organization states that the emergency stockpile of vaccines have ran out. Okay? Now, I don't understand how they just now found this out in fucking April. You knew when you were running out of the original thing. Why didn't you start, making some more? Okay? It doesn't take rocket science. I'll continue. Virus has spread to the Dominican Republic of Congo, Kenya, and China. Very interesting. Now, I took some facts out of the World Health Organization, like I said, I wanted to share with you guys. All right. Now, if you go to, and then this is information you guys can look up yourself. It's right on their website. May 5th, 2016, okay, is where these numbers come from. Vaccinated, 7.5 million of yellow fever in Angola. All right, 2,149 suspected yellow fever cases, 277 deaths reported. The international spread is over 3 countries that the virus has spread to. All right, now the Zika virus facts here. All right, the public, and this is all on the WHO website, so you guys can go check it out. See, I'm not making up numbers here. All right, do your own research. Think for yourself. Public health emergency, February 1st, 2016. Okay, this is where these numbers were last updated on, apparently. The situation report as of May 4th, 2016, 57 countries and territories reported cases of the Zika virus. All right, now the global response is 23 partners. Some of the partners and stakeholders, such as the GOARN network, a lot of these names I'm going to be doing some more research on. I just want to give a bland understanding so you know who these partners and stakeholders are, and we'll dig more into this at a later episode. UN agencies, public health, research partners, national and international NGOs, which we always know where that goes. That's personal interest and privatization. So there's no rules to be had anyway. Regional networks and R&D partners. The World Health Organization will work closely with Interagency Standing Committee, which is the IASC, and the UN Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, which is also known as the OCHA. Another group that's going to be working with this, or another one of the 23 partners, is the World Health Organization's Regional Office of the Americas, the AMRO, and or known as the PAHO. Since May of 2015, they've been working together. Ladies and gentlemen, did you just understand the dates that I threw out? May 15th, 2015. What is it? May 2016. They knew about this shit a year ago. They are telling us this, ladies and gentlemen. If you really pay attention to what they're saying, they knew about this a year ago, and they did not blow the whistle. They knew that they knew that this could be an epidemic, and they did not prep for it, and now there's going to be a lag that will make it a pandemic if we cannot control it. Which, can you control where a mosquito goes? Half the time, I don't even know when I'm bit by a mosquito. What if this virus attaches to another virus and becomes a super virus? We don't even have enough for what it is now to be prevented. Now, going back to the Yahoo article here, cases have shown up of it being spread sexually, which is a claim that they denied in the very beginning. Go back and look at some articles, mainly by Reuters, and I do believe there was one by Breitbart. Okay? According to the U.S. CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC. Okay, let's see. The break record in at least 43 countries or territories, most in the Americas. Brazil is the country that's mostly affected, and Africa, Cape Verde. Okay, now they gave me a list of all of these countries, and I don't know. You just listen to some of these, and you think about the Olympics. You think about these concerts. And people coming back, people going to these places. Aruba, Barbados, Belize, Bolivia, Bonaire, Brazil, Colombia, Costa Rica, Cuba, Caraco, Dominica, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, El Salvador, French Guiana, Guadeloupe, Guyana, Haiti, Honduras, Jamaica, Martinique, Mexico, Nicaragua, Panama, Paraguay, Puerto Rico. Oh, and mind you, don't forget, Puerto Rico's crumbling right now in every way. St. Lucia, St. Martin, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, St. Martin, Suriname, Suriname, Trinidad, Tobago, U.S. Virgin Islands, and Venezuela. And then we have Oceania and Pacific Islands. We got America Samoa, Fiji, Kosrae, Kosrae, Federal States of Micronesia, Marshall Islands, New Caledonia, Samoa, Tonga. Hey, but don't worry about it though, okay? It's not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. Don't worry about it. We got it under control. We don't have vaccines. We don't even have an emergency pile. It's not everywhere. It's not going to spread. Don't let it spread everywhere. It can't be spread sexually. Oh shit! It can be spread sexually. I have an ABC News article to sum this up before I get Lone Wolf's look on this. There's hope, I guess. There's a bacteria called the Wolbachia, Wolbachia bacteria, could help stop mosquitoes spreading Zika virus, study finds. This is an article, ABC News, like I said, by Gillian Mahoney, Mohney, article written May 4th, 2016. Like I said, the bacteria is called Wolbachia, Wolbachia. Study according to the medical journal Cell Host and Microbe, MICROBE. I guess it's already been used to curb the spread of dengue, 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 the other virus I was telling you about before, which is like the Zika virus. Yeah, so I guess they've already been using this, which also makes me think again, okay, well, if you've already been using it and it's already been tested to start to work, why haven't you started working on this months ago? Anyway, with the, now they did this study, and here's some of the stunning results of that study. With the Wolbachia mosquitoes, didn't get the Zika virus. So when they put this bacteria into the mosquitoes, they didn't get it. Without it, 85% of it were infected. Okay, so why are you going to sit back and let this become a pandemic? Oh, that's right. You assholes believe in depopulation. I forgot. You can listen to that in the beginning of our show. Ted Turner said it perfectly. It's too many people. We're using too much stuff. Eugenics didn't go anywhere. It just modernized. Got to put a different name. Maybe a hip-hop or, Taylor Swift or something. Maybe they do it. The authors of the study concluded, quote, the results presented here indicated that the Wolbachia infected mosquitoes represented a realistic and effective option to combat the Zika virus, known as Zika, or the ZIKV. ZIKV is what it looks like when you want to look up the technical abbreviation of the Zika virus. The burden in Brazil and potentially in other countries, and should be considered as an integral part of future control efforts. Dr. William Schaffner, the infectious disease expert at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, told ABC this may be the key to control this virus. I know that was a lot there, Lone Wolf, but you get the gist of it. We've talked about it in our many forums. What is your thought about the virus's pandemic and the WHO lack of care?
Excuse me. First, I'll say what you just said about 30 seconds ago about depopulation. The other partner in crime is Bill Gates. No, we're not blowing smoke, people. Do a simple search. You can find it anywhere on any search engine to wherever. And they come right out and say it. They even had both of them on TED Talk. And they said to the audience that there's too many people. It's upsetting the balance of the world, where Ted Turner's just buying land like a coke addict is getting coke. But anyway, the next thing is what you said at the very lead off of the second hour of this program is dictate. That's exactly what they're doing, dictate, because you have Bill Gates spending millions of dollars for viruses, and everybody's seen the PR where he's actually given the vaccine shots and everything else. Okay, fine. But, like you said, how in the hell did the reserve go out? Now, with this virus, I can't help to think back, and you said that about pregnant people can't do this or whatever with this virus, but call when AIDS, HIV just started becoming an epidemic, and they said that it wasn't going to be, and don't worry that the babies inside the mother's womb can't get it, blah, 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 blah. How long did that last? Well, now kids are being born with HIV positive. How's that happen if they put it in everybody's head that that's not going to happen? Okay, we're not stupid. Here's something else I want people to think of. The swine flu. Oh, they said whatever. You don't hear of it anymore. What happened to it? They said it would never go away. It's gone. The bird flu, same thing. Hundreds of thousands or millions of chickens had to be killed. I know people's laughing, but hey, that's part of it. And what happened to the bird flu? It's gone. Mad cow disease. Oh, all this stuff could be transferred to humans. Who was making money on it? Not you or I.
Oh, you want to know something just to put in there. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but this is really important because I'm a huge person against this. Is mind you that they passed legislation where we don't even know where the hell we're getting our meats from anymore. They don't have to tag them anymore. But hey, they can also tell the NFL stars that they shouldn't eat meat from Mexico because it contains steroids. But they have no problems giving it to our youth, and they have no problems not telling us and telling us to go out and buy it, which I think is utterly fucking pathetic. Go on.
You're right. You're totally right. And here is something that everybody probably didn't even let sink in. Not too long ago, Burger King publicly admitted at several press conferences, apologized for what they were putting in their meat. You know, it's not that we're here making shit up, people. We're just bringing you, like Rush said several times throughout the show, facts and numbers, okay? Instead of watching a basketball game for 4 hours or golf or whatever, NASCAR race, just spend 10 to 20 minutes looking on the computer. If you need help, get on Facebook, punch in the official group or the RWO, boom, there's hundreds or 1,000. I don't even know what the number's up to anymore because it just keeps going because people want to learn, and that's a good thing. And we have great researchers in there that can bring you up to the minute practically. One of our great researchers is always posting in there, Guy Foote. I got to give him a plug because he's bringing stuff in. Some of the stuff I'm like, you know, okay. But back to these diseases. They come and go. Now, you know where I live, and you know I live, like, extremely remote. They had a thing, not only here, but in several states. It was called the gypsy moth. Okay, it was decimating every living green thing. Oh, they were going to release a special kind of bird to eat the gypsy moth to stop it. The birds didn't care. They were eating stuff when people cut their grass or whatever. Okay. We don't even see a gypsy moth anymore. They released these half-bred, and I'm sure you have these there where you're at, half-breed ladybugs that are orange, and they bite like hell. And nobody knows where they came from. You know what I mean? So people,
the disappearance of the bees, the very steep decline of bees, and like I've said plenty of times on ATG, ladies and gentlemen, if you really want to panic, you should really, really be concerned about preserving those bees because they pollinate our food. Without them, we need them, period, to exist. Period.
Yeah,
Go do your homework.
You're 100% right. You can't overstate that because I'll tell you why. I could get a quart of raw honey for like $4 or $5. I just bought a pint for $7.50. This isn't through a store. This is off a supplier. So this stuff that you get in the store in the little cute teddy bear thing that's all been refined is probably $6 or $7 for like 5 ounces or something like that, you know. And like you said, it's just terrible because it pollinates flowers, gardens, and everything else. So what's happening? You know, like you said.
I think there's, between what's being sprayed in the air, all the nuclear testings, the reactors still going off over there in Japan, the huge dust storms, all the environmental things that's going on, I'm not honestly surprised at all. I'm going to switch gears here for a second and go to another tool of the week. Actually, I think I'm going to go into 2 of them before I go into my next story here. I ran across an article in the U.S. Daily Politics that I really hope to God is a lie. And honestly, I didn't have much time to research it this week because I am following other more important things, but will not comment until I can cross my T's and dot my I's. Condoleezza Rice running for president in the Ohio primaries by some Clinton group that's pumping money into it, and a memo leaked confirming these efforts, and she spoke at the RSC, I believe it was in 2012, and they're saying that was her election speech or announcement coming into it. There's all kind of things that are shrouding and surrounding this election, speaking of that. But Condoleezza Rice and that group, honestly, is my another tool of the week, just because I am moving to Costa Rica if Condoleezza Rice gets anywhere near the presidential seat, and I would advise you to do the same. There's an RT article of the West Virginia and Nebraska primary results. Speaking of the election, really quick here, I don't want to spend much time on this, but West Virginia and Nebraska primary results, what they mean for 2016. This was published today, and like I said, this is part of RT News and just late breaking. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump may be their party's presumptive nominees, but Bernie Sanders has a real chance to alter the course of the 2016 campaign in the West Virginia primary. Follow the live results here, and that is on RT, and they are doing it now, and I do invite you to do that if you want to keep up with these shenanigans. With 0% of precincts reporting Donald Trump was announced a winner in West Virginia and Nebraska by the Associated Press, AP. With 23% reporting, Sanders leads with 49.7% of the vote, and Clinton has 40% of the vote, according to AP. Main Street pundits are not the only ones declaring Trump and Clinton as the rightful heirs to the presidential nominee thrones of their respective parties. Pollster, Pollsters, just because I know my accent, are hard at work shaping the general election as well. Quinnipiac released a poll Tuesday showing the former Secretary of State and billionaire businessman in a virtual tie in major swing states. While Clinton has 43% against Trump's 42% in Pennsylvania and Florida, while Trump claims a slightly stronger lead, though still within the margin of error in Ohio with 43% to Clinton's 39%. Polls are bound to change, but it matters which way. The results of West Virginia and Nebraska very well might work for or against the narratives in the upcoming Republican and Democratic national conventions taking place July 18th through the 21st in Cleveland and July 25th through the 28th in Philadelphia, respectively. If you guys aren't familiar with Roger Stone, you can go to the stonezone.com. There's rallies and stuff like that going on. Remember the rule of 22, and honestly, do some research before you get yourself involved in anything, no matter who says what, okay? Going back to the article, if Senator Sanders manages to defeat Clinton in West Virginia, or if Senator Cruz shocks with a win over Trump in Nebraska, the road to the White House could get even bumpier. A Sanders victory in West Virginia could partly be due to voters' rejection of Clinton's anti-coal comment from a town hall in March, which is what actually Lone Wolf brought up and we elaborated a little bit on throughout the show. Quote, we're going to put a lot of coal miners and coal companies out of business, she said relentlessly. She has called that comment, quote, a mistake. That's a pretty damn big mistake. You pissed off the wrong people there, lady. Moving on. And while Cruz did suspend his campaign after last week's Indiana primary loss, he was once considered a favorite for the Nebraska primary. On Tuesday, Cruz alluded to the possibility of returning to the primary process if he saw a, quote, path to victory, which is what he was saying in the beginning. Quote, we launched this campaign intending to win. The reason we suspended the race last week is with Indiana's loss. I didn't see a viable path to victory, end quote. Cruz said on the Glenn Beck radio show, who's a fucking nutcase. Anyway, quote, if that changes, we will certainly respond accordingly. See, this is another thing, too, and this is something I pointed out last week. As I said, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, they're not out of the race. Suspended their campaign. That's why I said, just because they all went out, Kasich and blah, 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 they're still holding delegates. Any one of these people can pop right back up and say, hey, I'm going to go. To shake some shit up. Cleveland seems to be a pretty hotbed.
I hate to interrupt, but you saying suspend, if my memory serves me correct, at the end of the last election for Obama, didn't Hillary suspend hers with a few states left to go or something like that, the last election?
Yeah,
she didn't totally close it down. I heard her say suspended, but I really don't care. Say what Switchblade said. No matter who's running or whatever, it's going to be a total cluster either way you look at it.
Yeah. I definitely said it, and I'm out. Oh no, you're right. I've said it before. This is why it's my least favorite subject, because honestly, it's all a song and dance and blah, 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 until they're in office, and then who they put in their cabinet, and then I'll actually give a damn what they're talking about, because, prime example, hate to bring it up, but it is what it is. When Obama said he was going to get rid of NAFTA, he extended it. He said he was going to bring more jobs to America. He pushed through the TPP. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. That was just like, Reagan said he wasn't going to have any Wall Street people in his office, and then turn around George W. Bush was his vice president, directly CIA and Wall Street interests through Halliburton and the Saudi oil companies. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, that's admitted fact. Does not me being a tinfoil hat conspiracist. I do not believe in conspiracies. Well, I mean, not necessarily conspiracies, but I don't believe in coincidences, and I can smell bullshit a mile away. We are, like I said, I don't know, we'll probably go here for the next, 20 minutes or whatever. So if you are listening and would like to call in or comment, do remember that our guest line is 347-850-8945. Again, that is 347-850-8945. Let's see, what do I want to do here? Well, something that I did want to bring up is something that really pisses me off. If you don't notice that when we go through like OpenSecrets.com and we go through the donors of these presidential candidates, when you look at recent news about censorship, videos being taken off of YouTube, posts being taken off of Twitter and Facebook and other social media platforms, you start to understand the NGOs and these private companies and social companies such as Facebook and Twitter and blah, 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 that really influence and steer and actually have been known to make policy because of the Bilderbergs and the other secret groups and meetings that they have. I ran across a New York Post article about Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook. And this is the headline: Facebook is spending millions to keep Mark Zuckerberg alive. This is an article, April 28th, 2016, by David K.I., or K.I., so it's K.I., big I, little I. Either or, look it up through the headline. I'm not going through that guy's name. It's irrelevant. Anyway, there's another reason why I'm bringing this up, because, mind you, the Second Amendment and the First Amendment has been under fire, which, like we've always told you, if the First and the Second, they all go together, the Third, the Fourth, the Fifth, the Sixth, you got to have them all. So the entire Constitution and Bill of Rights is under fire. But I do find it pretty hilarious how they want you to put away your guns, but Mark Zuckerberg spends millions on his security. And how many millions? Well, $5 million was spent in around-the-clock security. These numbers come from 2015. Earlier this year, the CIA created ISIS, threatened Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, Apple CEO threatened, but here's how much he spent on security. $209,150, and he's head of one of the biggest tech companies out there. But we got to protect Zuckerberg, because he goes over there and talks to censor czars over there in China, like we don't know. Twitter's Dorsey spent only $68,500 on his security. Now, Facebook says with the threats that Zuckerberg's been getting and how important of a person that he is to Facebook, derp. Anyway, these are necessary and appropriate actions to take. The 2015 budget to protect Zuckerberg was actually down from the $6.2 million spent for security in 2014, the filing showed. Now, in 2013, Facebook spent $3.2 million on security, meaning for the last 3 years, Facebook has spent a total of $14.4 million to protect. Now, the security package includes bodyguards, which I guarantee you are armed, private jets, while he's on the summits talking about how our climate is at an all-time high and, the Earth's going to bust. He's taking his private jet wherever he wants to go. The maintenance of the alarms and cameras and other equipment on his residence. Now, the Post page 6 exclusively reports in February Zuckerberg has 16 bodyguards working in shifts to trail him around the clock, as I said before. Zuckerberg is currently worth $44.6 billion. I'm like Cat Williams. Billion with a B. Okay, that should shoot you in the heart. Billion. All right. He is the youngest on Forbes' top 10 world's wealthiest. Oh, but wait, there's more. Because not only is he highly protected by millions and millions and millions, his chief operating officer, Sheryl Sandberg, had $1.3 million spent on protecting her last year. But keep in mind who wants you to put your guns down. What do you think about that, Lone Wolf?
I'm just shaking my damn head. It's just like you said. Without getting into too much detail, there's people out there, good people, that can't even get, that's into some form of law enforcement, security, that they can't even get state or federal funding for a help or a mutual aid response if they shit does hit the fan and they have like 3 attackers on one. That yet this clown can, like you said, jump in his Learjet, go overseas, bullshit with China, spend $1 million, come back home. And it's just, people need to wake up. They really, really do. Because, like I said, I don't want to get in this too much, but it's sad whenever you have, like, the elections this year and all that money that's being wasted on security. Do they need it? Probably. Do they need to go overboard with it? No. And I'll give you a prime example. I was just at a function, and I'll say where because I was away for 3 or 4 days, in the city of Pittsburgh. I spoke with it was a Pittsburgh Marathon weekend. Now get this. They had a Pirates home game Friday night. They had a Pirates home game Saturday night. They had over 6,000 people that showed up just to run the 5K Saturday. I think they had, just say 6,000. That was people with them. That was for the 5K. Later on in the day, they had a kids 1 miler. And later on that same day, Saturday, they had, like, up to age 5, 300-meter or 100-meter thing, 300 yards. And the next day was Pittsburgh Marathon, which is the 3rd largest in the United States. They had over 35,000 people. You know how much outside help the city of Pittsburgh had? None. Now I forgot to add, the University of Pittsburgh graduated on Sunday at 2 o'clock the same day the marathon kicked off. Now I'm just using that analogy for people to understand these ass clowns are not worth that kind of money to protect. Whenever you have a city that has the 3rd largest marathon in the United States, doesn't have people coming in. Think about it. You know what I mean? That's not hard. That's easy math there.
Mind-blowing. We're getting ready to head toward the end of the show here, getting down to the nitty-gritty of our second hour. I always like to spend this time to kind of wrap everything up, so thank you all the listeners. We do appreciate your love, support, and your prayers. Please spread the links. Please follow us. As I said, we work very hard to bring you the truth and bring you the facts as quickly as possible. Thank you for all the listeners around the world. Thank you for our guests who called in this evening. R and O, it is a pleasure having you guys on the show. Lone Wolf, of course. Before we get into our final song and dance here, I want to bring up the last tool of the week, and it's just one of those funny things for me. So the big thing has been that Trump is a racist because he wants to build the wall. I say you're a moron because the wall already fucking exists, so I don't really understand what the big fucking hoopla is about. All you need to do is patch the damn thing up. It already exists, but still you're going to bitch about it. It was funny, though, because some lunatic again, or it was planned or whatever, because I'm starting to think that, you know, they're trying to test the waters to see what they can do to the White House, to be honest with you, if you want to look for your next false flag. In my opinion, don't quote me on that. That's just skepticism. So I don't have people emailing me talking about, oh, my God, you said the whale's going to be a bomb. No, I did not. I just said speculation. due to people's movements. But anyway, there is an article about Obama talking about that he wanted to raise the fence of the White House, which I thought was pretty damn comical, because you want to call Trump a racist also because he wants to raise a fence on the border, but you want to raise the fence on the White House. Just like Obama and the rest of you oligarch, tyrant, elite, global pieces of shit want us to de-arm and be like Mexico, to knock us down a notch, because, like I said, the entire international community wants the United States to be more on the playing field. They never wanted us to be this big. They never, and we're not even that big because our dollar is being devalued. Our economy is garbage. Gold goes up, dollar goes down. China's talking about cashing in junk bonds, all type of things, printing new money, changing the way that oil is being bought because we have the petrodollar, and that's how, it's all paid for through the American dollar. They're trying to, just bubbles everywhere. But you're going to put up a fence, a higher fence for the White House. But, Trump's a racist because he said we need to build a wall. You make me laugh, Obama, but I'm not going to spend much time on you just for the simple fact you're almost gone anywhere. You pretty much doing the Bush Jr. Fuck you guys. I'm out of here. You know what, Obama? Fuck you, too. But at the end of the day, it's not just Obama. Obama's a puppet post. He's the very last, well, not very last, but he's one of those that, the presidential seat is just a puppet post. There's really no other way to go about it. And that's why I'm Beyond the Veil here at the ANT Network, at ATG, in the real world order. We go beyond, okay? Where are these meetings coming from? Who's really behind it? Who's really pulling the strings? Put spotlight on them. Remember, evil things are done under the cover of darkness. Good deeds are done in the rays of sunshine. That being said, Lone Wolf, would you like to sum your presence up here on the show? Thank you for coming on, brother. I do appreciate it.
Hey, it's never a problem. You know that. I had a great time. It was a great roundtable discussion. A lot for our people here, and of course, got to put a shout out to our listeners across the pond and around the globe, because it is worldwide listened to. It doesn't seem like that now. Woo, geez, that's pretty out there. I have one thing to say, and I'm not going to say what. You already know. If everything goes good, next week should be a pretty decent show with my upcoming trip. I'm hoping everything is, if I can get to do stuff. You know what I'm talking about. But other than that, it'll still be a good show. They always are good shows. I just really hope and keep my fingers crossed that I can add to it for you for next week. Other than that, I had a great time. We brought a lot out for the people. They can do their homework. And once again, it's always a pleasure coming on, because we do have a blast here.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, brother. I really do appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, you will always, well, not always, I'm sorry, I'm using the wrong terminology. You will also catch Lone Wolf on some of the Against the Grain SSS, the Secret Society series as well, dropping some knowledge of things that he knows within his parameter, along with some of my analysis and research as well, along with other special guests. It should be a really fun time. Don't forget our mother show, Beyond the Veil, hosted by O and Switchblade S of ANT Network, and guest hosted by myself as well, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central, same bat time, same bat station, right here on Blog Talk Radio, blogtalkradio.com/Anonymous North Texas. I'm not sure if we're actually having the show tomorrow, but if not, usually reruns, which are always great and fact-filled. I want to get into the moment of clarity. Sometimes doing this makes me a little jaded. I have to step away from the computer sometimes, or the article, or the newspaper, or the TV, or wherever I'm getting my source of information from, because It is honestly disturbing, the actions of human behavior to each other. Prime example is in my city, I am watching it die, literally. I'm literally watching a nation die. Never thought in a million years that I would see the red, white, and blue fade the way that it's been. Never did I ever think that Congress and House of Representatives, which, mind you, the key word is representatives, represent us, have betrayed us in so many different fashions that it's kind of sort of hard to keep up with. We don't treat each other with respect. We're not kind to each other. Our egos, our assumptions become fact instead of just what they are, assumptions and opinions. When I grew up, I remember standing up every morning and over the PA. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. We don't do that no more because it excludes people. It hurts people's feelings. I saw one of the craziest articles that made me laugh this week was that it has been instructed to the DOJ that felons, no matter what the felony is, when they're being released, it hurts their feelings to call them a felon. When the fuck did we become a country of pussies? I mean, there's just really no other way to get it. When did the three letters of activism become lowercase? That's why when you see me sign a lot, I say ACT, big ivism. Because the most important word in activism is act. And not only but act responsibly and follow through. Talked about that a lot in the first hour. But it really amazes me on how we don't treat each other with respect. There's a 9-year-old girl right now fighting for her life. And she was sitting in her living room watching TV, being a kid, and a stray bullet from two sides, two ignorant, ridiculously ignorant sides, wanted to shoot out in front of her house, and a stray bullet goes in the wall to her living room. It strikes the child that is innocently being a child watching TV in what is supposed to be the safety of her home. Because of ignorance and we don't have any respect for each other, let alone ourselves, shooting over drugs and the most idiotic things. People are getting killed over cell phone bills, which, mind you, has been going on since the 90s. This isn't anything new. 9-year-old girl watching cartoons. Stray bullet in the house. Bam. Nobody's coming forward. Local news has put the truck on TV. Goes back to the story that I did last week that absolutely disgusted me. South Carolina Social Services giving those 5 children back to the father, and all of them ended up being strangled to death and thrown in a ditch like they were trash. You have journalists getting beat up trying to get through the crowd, not even being a part of it. People, what the fuck? And I'm not going to ask you to get your head out of your ass anymore. Just fucking do it. You know, if you've ever seen the movie Planet of the Apes, we're living like that today. Shooting each other, abusing and misunderstanding the Constitution for our own personal gain, misconstruing and misunderstanding and abusing powers that we have or we're being given. When is it going to stop? What's it going to take? what in the world is it going to take? Like I said, sometimes it makes my job a little hard. Because I read some of the craziest and vile things that's going on in this world. Ladies and gentlemen, this 2016 presidential circus, it's just what it is. It's a circus. But I'm telling you right now, everything is coming to a head. We got our military moving to strategical strike spots, surrounding countries. We got Russia whizzing past our military, which I'm not going to say. If we would have shot, I don't blame them. The international community is laughing at us. When are we going to take this country back? When are we going to make this world a better place? What's it going to take? It's up to us. So until next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Time Zone. As usual, right here on the blogtalkradio.com/Anonymous North Texas. We will see you next week. Thank you guys for listening. See you later.